this in?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Patty, welcome to Federal Way. You will find this to be a very innovative and supportive community. And welcome, it's an honor to be part of your first membership luncheon. So, again, welcome to Federal Way. A few folks asked me today if I was going to start off with a joke, like last year, and I'm not. And I actually got asked if I was going to sing like the president. No. But I do have a story to tell. And for those of you that were at the December luncheon, we had the opportunity to hear from Jeff Stock. And the title of his presentation was How to Be Successful in Business During Difficult Times. Great presentation. And what you may not know is that shortly after that presentation, Jeff invited a few of us to go out to Wild Waves and to have kind of a leadership summit, a conversation furthering the impact of these difficult economic times and to discuss the shared challenges that we're all experiencing. And as we were walking along Wild Waves looking at some of the improvements and appreciated the tour, we came upon one of his many pools, but this one in particular at this time of the year was filled with water. But what made it uniquely interesting was that there were alligators in the water. So Jeff kind of turned to us with a wry smile and said, you know, you may recall at the membership luncheon that I mentioned that Wild Waves contributed $1.7 million to the local economy, and immediately Councilmember von Reichbauer quipped, that's not enough. So, I am issuing you, leaders, an opportunity, a challenge, that if any one of you jumps into the pool with these alligators, swims through the alligators, and emerges successfully on the other side, you will get three things. You will, first of all, the schools, the city, all the entities in the Federal Way area will be relieved of their financial difficulties for the next decade because I have the investors' support to do so. The individual will also have a nice nest egg to retire on, and of course you will receive a lifetime pass to you and your heirs to Wild Waves. So we all kind of looked at each other and giggled a little bit and started to walk away, and we heard a splash. We turned around, and Mayor Priest was in the water. Soon thereafter, he was engaged by an alligator, then two, and then three. And you could imagine the turmoil that ensued for the next several minutes. Would seem like an eternity. As water was splashing, we saw alligator teeth, alligator tails, Skip coming up for air, then being taken back under an alligator roll, one after another. Miraculously, he emerged out the other end and successfully completed the challenge. So Skip was standing up now with the rest of us out of the water. Jeff, dumbfounded, said, Skip, I can't believe you took us up on the challenge, but more importantly, I can't believe you were successful. Can you please tell us why you did it? Skip was down, hands on knees, shook his head no, had no breath. He said, did you do it because you wanted to relieve all of our entities, all of your beloved Federal Way from the financial deficits that it's facing right now, the constraints that you're operating in? Skip just shook his head no. Did you do it for your nest egg? Shook his head no. Did you do it for the lifetime pass for you and your heirs to Wild Waves? He just shook his head no. Can you tell us why you did it? Skip straightened himself, caught his breath, bloodied, torn clothes, soaking wet, and said, because von Reichbauer pushed me in. Allegedly. These are difficult times that we're in, and there's moments when I know it feels like we are swimming with alligators, but the good news about being in Federal Way is we're never swimming alone. And I want to take a moment and thank so many of our partnerships, starting with the Chamber of Commerce. Patty, I look forward to working with you as our new CEO. Lori DeVore is our board president. You've done an outstanding job. I want to thank Tracy Oster with Communities and Schools. So many of you are here are mentors. Thank you for your work and commitment to our schools. And of course, Advancing Leadership Youth with Terry Hickel. I just can't say enough thank yous to the Chamber and to those subsidiaries. Thank you so much. In addition, I want to thank Mayor Priest for your partnership with the schools, our police department, so many of you here today, Andy, Chris, Brian, and his commitment to the schools. I just appreciate being able to call on you guys, as well as the fire department. Gordy, thank you for being here. Tell Al, thank you for the partnership. And, of course, Pete von Reichbauer, when we've had issues that come up, we can call the county and get a response from Pete, and Pete's on it on our behalf. But in addition, I want to thank Woodstone. Here you are again today, sponsoring this event. Every time I turn around, I see Woodstone and Red Canoe doing something for our schools and for our children. I also want to thank our service organizations, many of whom are represented today, the Rotary, Kiwanis, and Lions in particular. Again, every time I turn around, I see that there's a scholarship, there's money, there's something going on that you're contributing to the betterment of our programs and our kids. And of course, my good friend Jack Birmingham and the folks at Highline Community College, we continually have conversations about where we're going to go in these tough times and ways that we can find opportunities for our students. And I appreciated learning this morning that not only is this your 50th anniversary, but you were the first community college in King County. Did not know that. But I think one of the questions that we have to ask ourselves during these difficult times is, what is it that we're willing to do to not just survive, but to thrive during these challenging times? And I go to the words of Linda Darling Hammond, Stanford professor and researcher and author, and she says, students' willingness to commit to their school and to their own futures is interwoven with their perception of whether their society believes they are worthwhile investments. You look around the room, you can tell that we have an opportunity right now to tell our students that we care about them and we care about their future. We have an opportunity to help our realtors sell Federal Way, to get investors to come in. In fact, the message to the investors is you better get in now, because Federal Way is once again raising the bar. And if Federal Way, or if the South Sound were a breakfast table where there's bacon and there's eggs, Federal Way isn't the chicken that participates in the breakfast. Federal Way is the committed pig. In Federal Way, we are all in. So the Federal Way Public Schools has had a long tradition of establishing ambitious policies and practices in pursuit of academic excellence for all of our students. Our district and community are willing to do what's difficult, what may be unpopular at the time, because we believe that all students can be successful, and we believe it's what's right for our students. We have a courageous school board. We have many administrators here who are skilled and passionate, carry that passion that ensures student success. And trust me, we have extremely talented teachers who care about student success, ensure student success, and they're working harder than they ever have. And I'll give you one for instance. Mirror Lake Elementary School, if you didn't know this, they had 10 National Board Certified teachers this year. They led the United States and America in the number of new National Board Certified teachers. We also have committed support staff who go above and beyond the call of duty every day, like Libby Cusada, who works at Rainier View Elementary, who was recently named the Valley City's Volunteer of the Year for going above and beyond the call of duty. And we also have, as you know, amazing students, like Isaac Wani from Federal Way High School, born in Sudan, who just recently was nominated by Congressman Smith, and now has the choice of any one of our four military academies to attend school and pursue his academic and military pursuits. What an amazing story. But understand that what we understand in Federal Way is that not all of our students are going to make the choice to go on to college or to secondary training, post-secondary training. But we believe that every child should graduate from the Federal Way Public Schools with the skills, the knowledge to make those personal choices and those options. Last year, we implemented a policy called academic acceleration. Students are automatically placed, by qualifying with some minimum requirements, into our most rigorous advanced programming, like advanced placement, international baccalaureate, and Cambridge program classes. What makes this unique is that we are saying that we have a seat for all of our students in the most rigorous programs, where traditionally throughout the country, those seats are reserved only for the privileged few. If students don't want to be in those classes, once they're placed, their students can opt them out. But what about the students that didn't qualify? They can just raise their hand and they're welcomed in. You see, this policy has had a profound impact on so many students who didn't think that they were smart enough, didn't think that they were good enough, and who didn't think they belong. They belong, and they're excelling. Well, this fall, we extended the implementation of our standards-based education system throughout the entire district. You may have heard about it. What I want you to know is that this system is designed to ensure student learning of the most essential skills and knowledge that will prepare them to be successful in an increasingly competitive world. Over 400 of our teachers spent a year scouring state, international, and national benchmarks to design the 15 essential power standards in each course or class and grade level, pre-kindergarten through 12th grade. This approach is practiced in the highest performing countries around the globe, but not in the United States. And you may have heard that the Common Core is coming in 2015. Understand that's only language, arts, and math, and those aren't even done yet. We have power standards in every course, K through 12. Each power standard that we selected had to meet 3 criteria. Number 1, they had to endure beyond a single test or project. The days of teach, test, and forget are gone. They have to carry over into other content in the curriculum. The days of teaching in isolated boxes, if you will, the industrial model, it's over in Federal Way. And it has to prepare our students for the next level of instruction, which includes their adult lives. We designed a system that tells students what they need to know, communicates what they must demonstrate to be successful in each and every class, and ensures that students in Federal Way are learning the same world-class curriculum in each class and each school every single day. In our standards-based education system, it's this simple. All learning activities are linked to power standards. Students have multiple opportunities to demonstrate mastery of those standards, and that their grades reflect the learning of the standards. Nothing more and nothing less. But I'll tell you what, it takes a skilled teacher and it takes great building leadership to ensure that this is being carried through. But quality education is not random in the Federal Way Public School District. So why are we doing this? In his best-selling book, Good to Great, author Jim Collins tells the story of Vietnam prisoner of war, Admiral James Stockdale. Admiral Stockdale was the highest-ranking prisoner of war while held captive from 1965 to 1973. And what Collins labels the Stockdale paradox. Admiral Stockdale earned the love and respect of his fellow captives by the belief that you retain absolute faith that you can and will prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties, and at the time confront the most brutal facts of your reality, whatever they may be. According to data released last month from the Community Center for Education Results in Seattle, 78% of South Sound students graduate from high school. In Federal Way, we've been trending for many years at about 72%. It's not good enough. Now, granted, our extended graduation rate is 80%, and we have the most rigorous graduation requirements and the most rigorous curriculum in the area. But here's some sobering statistics on high school dropouts. At current levels of incarceration, newborn African-American males in this country have a greater than 1 in 4 chance of going to prison in their lifetimes. Hispanic males, a 1 in 6 chance. Caucasian males, a 1 in 23 chance. But understand that African American and Hispanic students make up 35% of our population. You can do the math. In the U.S., high school dropouts commit 75% of the crimes, make up half of the households on welfare. Dropouts are likely to experience a premature death. And according to prediction, the dropout rate is supposed to increase substantially through the year 2020, perhaps beyond. This morning at Highline's breakfast, former Seattle Mayor Norm Rice spoke, and he shared these results. I went up afterwards and got his note card. Today we have 6.7 million young adults out of school and work and set up to fail. In 2011, taxpayers around the country shouldered more than $93 billion to compensate for lost taxes and direct costs to support these youth. Over their lifetimes, taxpayers will assume a $1.6 trillion burden to meet the needs and lost revenue from this group of disenfranchised students. So, of those students who do graduate high school in the South Sound, only 50% go on to college. Of those who attend college, as many as 47% take remedial classes. The good news, bad news is we have the best remediation rates in the region, but that's 42% in math and 19% in English. And we lead the area. That's sobering. Only 24% of our high school graduates in this region earn a college degree, post-secondary degree, and yet 65% of the jobs in this region require post-secondary degrees. So if you ask why we're doing this, it's because we know we can do better by our students, and I believe, and we believe, that it is our moral obligation, and we have a moral imperative to change this trajectory for our students, and we need to change it now. We are in the midst of significant change here, and it's difficult. But I'll go to the words of John F. Kennedy, who said, for time in the world do not stand still. Change is the law of life. And those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. I say to you that this is only the beginning of the change here in Federal Way. We have much work to do if we are going to be committed, pig committed, to excellence in this school district, in this community. So I'm asking you to join me in the conversation and the healthy debate over where we're going next. And let's consider 3 trends from the book, 16 Trends and Their Impact on Our Future. Trend number 1, for the first time in history, you threw me off, Camille. I know I have 5 minutes and I'll make it right on time. I did not practice that part when I got ready for this speech. For the first time in history, trend number 1, the old will outnumber the young in developed countries. So think about the significant elderly support burden that our youth are inheriting today. But they also have great opportunities in healthcare, technology, and education. Trend number 2, majorities will become minorities, creating ongoing challenges for social cohesion. By the year 2050, no single racial or ethnic group will constitute more than 50% of the population in the United States. We're already there in our student population in Federal Way. Federal Way schools, our largest student population by race is our Caucasian population at 38.4%. 10 years ago, they constituted 68 or 66.7% of our student population. In those same 10 years, Hispanic population has tripled from 8% to 22.5%. Students who speak a different language at home has doubled in that time from 7% to 13%, nearly doubled. And on any given day, we have as many as 130 different first languages spoken in our homes. To give you a little perspective, Los Angeles Unified has 750,000 students and 55 first languages. Our students living below the poverty line has also nearly doubled in the last 10 years from 29% to 55% today. And according to Mr. Marks, if we accept diversity as part of the norm, it will surely enrich us and bind us together. If we don't, our diversity will surely divide us. Trend number 3, social and intellectual capital will become the economic drivers, intensifying competition for well-educated people. In the good old days, when I went to high school, most workers earned their wage by the sweat off their brow and the strength of their backs. But today, pressure has grown and growing for jobs that don't currently exist. Release of human ingenuity will become the responsibility of education and society. So to survive and thrive in the 21st century, which is now 11% gone, our students will need to develop the skills that only a diplomat needed a decade or so ago. Our students will need to understand and tolerate cultural differences. They will need to understand and tolerate different generations. They will need to speak 2, at least 2, maybe 3 different languages. They will need to develop culturally diverse communication skills. They will need to develop higher level thinking, problem solving, communication, and collaboration skills because they will work with people in foreign countries. They will work for foreign companies, or perhaps they'll be living in those foreign countries. They will need to learn to work in teams because they will have not jobs, but projects. They will be asked to solve problems that haven't been created yet using technology that hasn't been invented yet. They're going to invent those technologies. They will need to be lifelong learners, and we have got to teach them how to learn. You see, the world is intolerant of the ill-prepared, but it awaits with open arms those who have the skills, the commitment, and the work ethic to contribute. So in the words of W.E.B. Du Bois, who once said, "Of all civil rights for which the world has struggled and fought for 5,000 years, the right to learn is undoubtedly the most fundamental. The freedom to learn has been bought by bitter sacrifice. And whatever we may think of the curtailment of other civil rights, we should fight to the last ditch to keep open the right to learn." In Federal Way, we will fight and continue the fight for all means all. Because all means each. Each child has a name. This school district is going from good to great, and our kids are going to be tomorrow's great leaders. Thank you.